What I'm about to share with you is pretty eye-opening, and it kind of takes the pressure off rep ranges and more on your intensity. So when we are looking at building muscle mass and getting stronger, but mainly building muscle mass, we can build muscle from anywhere between 3 reps and 30 reps. Let me say that again. You can build reps at any rep range between 3 and 30. You can do a strength workout, lifting very heavy for 3 reps and build muscle. You can choose a weight that's lighter that suits the 30 rep range, and you can also build muscle that way. What matters is not the rep range. What matters is how close you are getting to failure. But listen up here. How you get to failure is going to be very different with 3 reps and with 30 reps. With 30 reps, you're going to be getting a bit more of a burn because you got more reps to chew through. With 3 reps, all of those reps are going to be quite hard because you're already at a high enough intensity and you only have to repeat the movement 3 times. If you have to do it 30 times, I feel like there's going to be some reps out of that 30 that aren't going to be as, muscle building, hypertrophy provoking, because you're having to do these reps to get in to that proximity of failure, if that makes sense. But if you only do 3 reps, all of those reps are going to be pretty hard because you only have to do it 3 times. So within this, what is the best rep range for hypertrophy question? I would challenge the idea that going higher reps is probably not the best idea, because out of 30 reps, maybe the last 5 are going to be really challenging. And then you've just done 25 reps in the name of getting to fatigue for those last 5 reps to pay off and get close to 1 to 2 or 3 reps in reserve. However, if we come down to the lower rep range, it doesn't even have to be 3. It can be anywhere like 3 to 5, 6, 7, 8. In this bottom end of the reps, we're not going to have to do as many reps to get close to failure. We already start at a point where we are training pretty hard and lifting a decent weight consistently close enough to failure. So, if you're doing 5 reps and you get 1 to 2 reps in reserve, all of those reps are going to be relatively hard. I would say the first 1, 2, maybe even 3 reps aren't going to be as hard as the last 2, but they're still going to be pretty hard. Compared to a set where we're doing 30 reps, the first, 15 to 20 reps are going to feel quite easy because you have to chew through them before you get to those muscle building, hypertrophy provoking reps towards the end. It kind of lines up with that quote that Arnold says, you only start counting the reps when it hurts. It's a bro science thing to say, but I wouldn't say that it's far from the truth. We need to get to those reps where something happens, and it's when the weight involuntarily slows down. So let's look at doing a deadlift. If we're doing a deadlift and we're lifting the deadlift with a tempo of 3010, 3 seconds down, 1 up. If we're going 3 seconds down and 1 up, that's following the tempo. But you want to get to a point where, and this is for building muscle mass, where the reps involuntarily slow down. So that 3010 tempo, which is 3 seconds down, 1 up, the intent is still there, but what it realistically might look like is 3020 or 3030, which is 3 seconds down, 2 seconds up, or 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up. As you get closer to failure, that explosive concentric rep may slow down, but that is good because that's when we're getting really close to that 1 to 2 reps in reserve, which is where the muscle building happens. So that's something to consider when you're thinking of rep ranges. It's not necessarily what number you're hitting, it's how close you're getting to failure. And within that, how many reps do you have to do before getting close to those involuntary reps where the bar is involuntarily slowing down? Which poses the next question that I want to introduce to this conversation is like, what reps are the best for hypertrophy? And there was this chat of the hypertrophy rep range is 8 to 12. People have been saying that for years. And then when people said, oh, no, you can build muscle from anywhere between 3 to 30, people kind of discarded the 8 to 12 hypertrophy rep range. But here's why I think it's not necessarily 8 to 12. I would say, for me, the best rep range, man, I'm going to say somewhere between 4 to 8. Because it's heavy enough for you to be lifting heavy for a decent amount of reps. Most of those reps are going to be at a high intensity. But it's also light enough that you're kind of getting enough repetitions in there, but not too many reps that you're getting fatigued and not being able to perform and lift heavier weights. Within that low rep range of 4 to 8, you're still working your strength as well. But if you go to that higher rep range where you're lifting weights between, 15 to 30 reps, you're not necessarily getting stronger from this perspective. You are just building up fatigue in your muscles, getting close to failure, which can build muscle, but you're not necessarily going to get strong. When you sit in this 4 to 8 rep range, you have the ability to build muscle and you have the ability to build strength. Building strength is great, because if you build strength, then that can carry over to those higher rep ranges. But the higher rep ranges don't necessarily carry over to the lower rep ranges, if that makes sense. That's why I've always kind of been a fan of this lower rep range. And it's quite a challenge to try and sell that to people, like lifting heavy 4 to 8 reps, especially women. It's getting better, trust me. But it was, it kind of used to be, women jump on the treadmill and do cardio and they do the Stairmaster. Thank the Lord that's changed, because now they're getting strong. They're squatting, they're deadlifting, they're doing pull-ups, they're doing bench press, they're doing hip thrusts. The whole, strong versus skinny debate is out there. Not saying that I'm taking a side, but I'm very pro resistance training. Not just for what your body looks like, but for what your body's capable of doing. And as you're getting older, that whole anti-fragility side that I was talking about before, to combat sarcopenia, which is muscle degradation as you get older. That's a different conversation for a different day, but I'm very pro this kind of 4 to 8 rep range. And I've always personally felt that I've built the most muscle and looked the best when I have followed a program that kind of sits in that lower rep ranges. I really thrive off like a 5x5 program. I really thrive off like a 4x6 program. When I was a face-to-face personal trainer in Sydney, Fitness First Market Street, I did quite a lot of 6x6 programs, which is quite a lot of volume for the amount of heavy lifting that I did. I'd probably do it different now, probably more 4x6, but I'll do 6x6. I would do descending reps schemes where I would go 6-6-4-4-2-2. I'm a big fan of that. I would also jump into something called wave loading, which is where you could go 6-4-2, 6-4-2. That's also very fun. And I found that I got very strong, which was awesome. But I also built pretty decent muscle mass, and I had this kind of density to me that other people that I was training around didn't really have, that followed more of a higher volume training program or higher rep program where they would do more sets and reps, but mainly, let's just talk about the reps, that they were kind of doing higher rep training. So they were still kind of building muscle mass, but they didn't have the strength behind them. And I feel like, and this is me kind of talking bro science now, I'm going outside of the research, I'm talking anecdote now. The people that I trained around, the ones that were strong, had this kind of density where their muscle mass was just so present. They had that kind of rugby thick league player vibe, where the people that lifted weights at a higher rep range that still built muscle had a kind of decent physique, but their muscle mass looked like if they stopped training for a couple of weeks, it would kind of wither away. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's just something that I saw, but I think that is coming down to that strength and that training those like type 2 muscle fibers and getting them really strong. I have a high makeup of type 2 muscle fibers. I think the Māori population, islanders in general, do. Samoans, Tongans, Fijians have a lot of type 2 muscle fibers. So I think I fall into that category as a Māori. So I feel like I thrive under that kind of heavy explosive training. And when I've always done higher rep ranges, I felt like I was almost treading water, not really making progress. I would still look okay, but I never felt like a pump. I never felt like I was making steady progress. I was always just kind of looking forward to heavy lifting. But what I kind of did was have this kind of protocol where I did 2 strength programs and then 1 hypertrophy program. And that hypertrophy program was often higher rep. But now I don't necessarily do it that way, like 2 low rep programs and then 1 high rep program. I just kind of auto-regulate how my body feels at the time.